Usually see some crazy stuff out here in the water, so I figured bring the GoPro today, see if we see anything. Hopefully nothing too crazy. I want to come back safe and sound. Enjoy. That was awesome. Those are my little adventures that I take every time I go out and swim. Always see something cool. Almost ran into that little one at the end, huh? We made it back safe and sound. Till the next adventure.
I belong to you. I belong to you. Do just what you want. You're the one I trust. And I always be around when I need some loving, baby. No one else. Yeah. Let you down. Take me to your heart. I belong to you. Take me to your soul.
All right, going to be getting started very shortly. We have a great show ahead. We have a beautiful day. And we have an awesome guest coming on as well. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time visiting, a special welcome to you. We got a special feature today. We are doing a driving tour of Negril, Jamaica, particularly focusing on the West End. And this is a bit of a long video. It's about 40 minutes. And depending on where you're watching it, this will be in different parts or one long video. My name is Winthrop Wellington, by the way, and here on my channel, we really discuss all things Jamaica. But today, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a bit of tour of Negril, and we're just going to flow with it. We're just going to flow with it and see where this takes us. So we are starting this tour off on Norman Manley Boulevard, otherwise known as the Beach Road at Travelers Beach Resort, which is my family's hotel. And of course, we gotta wait for the traffic. But across there on the left side of your screen, that is our NEAT Resource Center, or the Negril Education Environment Trust Resource Center. NEAT is my family's nonprofit organization, which focuses on education for young people. So right now we're heading south on Norman Manley Boulevard. Pretty beautiful day, as you can see. I don't know what the temperature was when we filmed this, but it was nice. It was a nice day. And so we're heading towards downtown Negril, and on your left is the shared user path. So that's running, walking, biking, and that goes for a little bit over 2 miles. To your right is the Negril Beach Park. It has a basketball court and the beach, of course, and just really open space. Unfortunately, it's closed right now. They have plans to do some refurbishing. And then we just passed the Negril Community Center. And then we're also passing the craft market on your right side. And this is the South Negril River and Bridge. And we're heading to the Negril roundabout. Of course, going into the roundabout, you have to give way. And if you're in the roundabout, you have the right of way. And we are going west end, so we're going to be taking a right here at the roundabout and veering left. And so here downtown, this is a few shopping centers, if you will. There's Little Caesars Pizza on the right, Popeyes, Burger King. There's a Digicel store down here as well. And on the left coming up is Scotiabank, which some people might be familiar with depending on where you are from, but it's a Canadian bank. And I guess officially this is where the west end of Negril starts. And on your left here is Corner Bar, which is a pretty popular restaurant. Great local food. Haven't had it in a while, but the reviews continue to be very good. And on the left, that's Vendors Plaza. That's the Negril Chamber of Commerce owned plaza. And on the right, obviously, we have the sea. Unfortunately, I don't think we panned right, but you basically can see the entirety of Negril on the right-hand side if you were to look right. You need to get a 360 camera next time, right? Anyway, on the left is the Negril Post Office. Not in the greatest of shapes, but that is our post office. And then right after that is Samuel's Hardware on the left. And that's, I would say, probably the most popular hardware store in Negril. Mostly every business uses them. And then on the left, the green building, that's Quality Traders. That's where I do my grocery shopping. Been going there for years. And then we're coming up on the, I guess what used to be the High-Low Value Master NCB Plaza, but NCB and High-Low moved. So that's no longer there, and that place is being refurbished. And this is called Church Corner. As we move through the West End. Just cruising. And this is the Negril Library on the left, and then followed by Negril All Age School. And this is another hardware store on the left. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'm just flowing with it, and as I see things, I'm going to point them out to you. On the right is the Negril Yacht Club, which is for sale. Hopefully, should be doing a video on that hopefully sometime soon. Canoe Bar is on the right. It's pretty much the only property on the west end that has a beach. Good food there. Haven't been there in a while either, but their food is pretty good. That used to be German bar, but I don't know what it is now, but boats used to pull up there. They used to have really good pizza. This used to be Boat Bar on the right, but it changed into something else. I'm not sure what it is now. And then Millard is on the left, and if you know Millard, that's 24 Hours Place. Good food as well. And then Patsy's is on the right, so they do, I think it's basically the only standalone coffee shop in the grill. And they do good pastries, good lunch. I did a live stream from there and also did a video with them as well for the channel, which was cool. This is Ocean Cliff on the right we just passed. I did the farewell dinner there for ThropX 2022. Beautiful property, formerly known as the Spa Retreat. But beautiful property, great food that we had there for the farewell dinner retreat. And here on the West End, like, it's a very different experience than the beach. As you can see, like, it's very, it's I wouldn't say secluded, maybe too strong of a word, but definitely when you're on the properties, it's a little bit more secluded and separated as compared to the beach, where there's just more traffic and no real, I guess, super separation between the properties. And really talking in terms of traversing. So to go from property to property here, you actually have to come out the property and walk along the roads here, whereas like the properties on the beach, you can either walk on the beach and go from property to property, or the road, if you will. And if you're across the street from the beach, then we have the shared user path, depending on where the property is. Now we are passing Samsara, which is friends of the family, another good small hotel in the grill. Sorry about that wind sound. I didn't anticipate that, but that just makes sense, just coming from the camera. This is Kaiser's. This was used to be a very famous place for shows back in the day, before my time. Coming up on the left and the right here is Ekstabi, great seafood place. Haven't been there in a while, but do enjoy their food. Great lobster during a lobster season. Three Dives coming up on the right here. Very, very popular restaurant, local restaurant. Great jerk chicken, jerk food in general. They were actually on The Amazing Race, if I'm not mistaken. Almost certain of that. Nice view here of the sea. Passing Pushcart on the right, which borders its sister property, Rock House, one of my favorite restaurants in the grill. They also have an award-winning spa. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope you all are doing well. It's an early start for us here. There I am. Early start for us here on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning. And we got a lot to talk about. So little time. I'm busy this afternoon, so I decided to push up the live stream by a couple of hours. I see some people in the comments already appreciate it. Kind of have the rest of the Sunday to chill afterwards or do whatever it is that you got to do. But today, as you can be able to tell by the title, we are interviewing Dr. Trevor Dixon, who is the founder and CEO of the Jah Jah Foundation, and they do tremendous work all over Jamaica in terms of medical missions that they do. And we were having a conversation last week. He comes every year, but it was just very insightful, like what he's kind of seeing on the ground that is happening here, and then also from like a bureaucratic perspective of like things that he is finding that is holding his organization back and holding him back from really rolling out the help that is he sees that is needed, and just really also how much money can be saved by the government and just Jamaica in general. And so I thought this would be something that you all will be interested in, as we talk a lot about healthcare here and the quality of healthcare, the availability of healthcare here in Jamaica. So it should be an interesting one. Also, some more housekeeping. We have the interview that I did with Kevin Frith. That drops at 12 p.m. So we have a hard out at 12. And so we're going to definitely have to keep this under the 2-hour mark, which I always say, but somehow we never make it. But that's the goal, at least, and then we'll hop over to the premiere for the Kevin Frith interview. So for those that aren't aware, Kevin Frith, he is the founder and lead developer of Suncoast Beach Club in St. Thomas, and what's I guess what makes people drawn to this project is that it's the first of its kind in that parish in particular, and especially with the new highway that they have over there. We're talking about a 15-minute ride from Norman Manley International Airport, 25 minutes to downtown Kingston. And so there's just like a lot of potential, and he took a lot of risk in taking on that property or that project. And he goes into a lot of his background and a lot of his really where he came from. Like he really came from like some crazy humble beginnings, and so I think it's just like a great Jamaican story to share, that of where he started and now he's literally changing the country and driving the economy in his own way. So I think that's super exciting. So I think that's all the real housekeeping that I have for the most part. As you saw, you guys got an extra video this week, but I mean last week I think I already told you on the last live stream that we'd be doing the tour of the Sunshine Plaza here in the Grill, which is a newly acquired plaza by Mr. Lee Issa, who is the CEO of and chairman of the Couples Group, Couples Swept Away, and he did an excellent job. If you haven't seen the video, I definitely encourage you to take a look. It's doing really well. So I appreciate your support. Yeah, you could have a seat there. I really appreciate everybody's support and watching it and all the engagement what we have going on there. But we're gonna start the interview in about another 10 minutes. Dr. Dixon just came, but I do want to do our thing here. Of course, let me know where everybody is chiming in from, what city, what state, what country. Always love to hear it. And I just want to quickly touch on some quick announcements that kind of came up in the news, specifically along the investment side of things. So let's go through some comments here. What's going on, Donna? Happy Sunday to you from Foggy, Ottawa. Missing your girl and Travelers. Hope to see you soon. Shayna, what's going on? Good to see you as always. Mark, how's it going? Says greetings, Throp family. One love, hailing from New York at the moment. I'm sure you will be back very soon. And please listen to Donna. Hit the like button on your way in. Would definitely appreciate it. And as I was saying before, this is a comment I was alluding to. Shayna says, glad this is an early start. This will help me to be productive doing my work while this live stream playing in the background. Awesome. You got it. What's going on, Conway? Thanks for joining. Day Kush chiming in from South Carolina. What's going on, Andrew? Good to see you. What's going on, Godfrey? Thanks for joining. Yeah, let's get to that view right there. So we got like a really, really nice, beautiful, beautiful day. I mean, the sky is like meeting the water. Like you could barely tell the difference. It's very calm. It's like a lake out there today. Usually it's like you only get that lake kind of effect early in the morning, but we're feeling it throughout the day. What's going on, Gregory? Thanks for chiming in. Mark McCarthy says the farewell dinner retreat 2022 was awesome. The food was delightful, and the atmospheric scenery sunset was breathtaking. Yeah, that's he's talking about ThropX 2022. Good times, good times. Okay, Natural, good to see you. Charles, Chris Charles. I remember I called you Charles last week when you were here. Strong Island on deck. Had a great first annual family reunion in the Grill last week. It was great to see you and great to meet your family, your extended family. And it seemed like you guys had an awesome time traveling all over the island. Looked like so much fun. Looked like so much fun. Z Turner, good morning. Happy Sunday. Zoe from St. Petersburg, Florida. Thank you as always for your content, Throp. You are very welcome. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate it. Godfrey watching from China. Wow, that is a long ways away. What time is it there in China? Just curious. Is it tomorrow already? Peter V says, great to be here. Checking in from a rainy, chilly Brampton, Ontario. Good to have you. Corey MPA, good morning. Good to see you. Hi, Camille. Camille says there was a great piece of publicity. She's talking about the Sunshine Village Plaza video that we released on Thursday night. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Efrida says Jamaican Canadian chiming in from Ontario. Good to see you. Glessy Williams says absolutely beautiful. Yes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Lovely day. Camille chiming in from New York. Claudine, good morning from Port Antonio, Jamaica. Awesome. Love it out there. I keep saying I'm gonna get out there this year. 100%. Promise. Karen, good morning. Watching from Hollywood, Florida. Good to see you. Good to have you. It's 11:22 p.m. in China. Thank you for letting us know, Godfrey. Thank you for staying up with us. Good morning, Zoe. Greetings from Oregon. Heading to Jamaica tonight. Awesome, awesome. So, what time do you get in? If you're coming, I know you come from the West Coast. Just interested, and also, what's your flight pattern from Oregon? Just curious. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for chiming in, all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio. All right, let's quickly got a few more minutes before we start the interview. Want to just quickly go into some of the a few new investment announcements. So last week we talked about the Pinnacle in Montego Bay, and then I think it was yesterday or the day before, there was an announcement of I can't even open it. Of let me see if I can open it. Nope, can't open it. Of a $700 million investment in I think it went up to is it a billion? Basically another hotel. I mean, basically almost $1 billion investment. And we'll quickly go through this. I'm gonna share my screen here. All right. Yeah, so this came out Friday. The article reads, Harmony Cove development expected to break ground this year. The developers of Harmony Cove, a U.S. $1 billion investment in Jamaica's tourism sector, expect to break ground later this year. This was announced last night by Chief Executive Officer Nexus Luxury Collection, Christopher Anand, during a virtual town hall diaspora meeting hosted by Jamaica's ambassador to the U.S., Audrey Marks. Anand said Harmony Cove will be situated on 2,300 acres of land in Trelawney and will be a partnership between Nexus Luxury Collection and the government of Jamaica. Anand said he had discussions last week with Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, and Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett on the project. He said that the government has given the assurance that it will undertake certain work that has to be carried out. He said that once the government has completed that ground should be broken later this year to begin construction. He said the development will consist of a 26-story hotel with 1,000 rooms, a large casino, a group and meeting room, an 18-hole championship golf course designed and developed by Tiger Woods. It will also have an entertainment and music facility developed by American pop star Justin Timberlake, beach and marine activities, a beachfront, and pool. He said the development will not be an all-inclusive concept, but rather a family-oriented facility. For financing, Anand said that an initial public offering (IPO) will be put to the market, and Jamaicans will be able to purchase shares in the development. We want Jamaicans participating in this project, and we believe that the best way is for them to invest in the project. He said. He said that small investors will be targeted for investment in the project. The Nexus Luxury Collection CEO said that the project will employ some 4,000 Jamaicans at salaries much higher than what is currently being paid in the local tourism industry. He said that Harmony Cove will be a multi-phase development, with phase one having a multi-billion-dollar investment. He pointed out that this company has similar projects in the Bahamas, New York, and elsewhere. We're aiming to create the most large-scale resort destination in the Caribbean with the development in Jamaica, he said. He said that the Harmony Cove will be the third largest resort destination and will be environmentally friendly. He said, this is great writing here. He said that the aim is to diversify from the all-inclusive concept and bring a different segment of Jamaica's tourism product to life. He said that Jamaicans overseas will be targeted for investment in the project. Lester Hines. Interesting stuff. And so I bring that up in conjunction with last week's talk on the Pinnacle, and there was another one. There was another one announced. I mean, and you're seeing these like multitudes of hundreds of millions of dollar investments. Like it's almost like every week there's like a new one, and it's just so interesting the consistency. And of course, we can be like, the timing is also interesting, right? As well, but nonetheless, these are I guess at least from a media perspective, publication perspective, like these are confirmed investments that are being made in Jamaica, and it's just crazy. And I know, like even before, like I've been saying, like I haven't seen this level of investment coming into Jamaica, and like every time I think like we've peaked or we've seen I've become impressed. I'm even more impressed, and it just continues to roll out. And then I would even say, even from micro investments as well. I mean, I can't even say. I mean, I guess you can call them micro investments as well. You're seeing like just tons and tons of economic activity happening on just like multiple levels across the board. The video that I released on Thursday with Mr. Issa doing an investment of Sunshine Village Plaza. Yeah, it's not $1 billion investment, but it's still a significant investment that's going to have an immense impact on the Negril community. It's going to have an impact on tourism. And I think there's going to be also a lot of, I would say, inspiration that comes from that gives other entrepreneurs opportunities to help grow their business and to invest in Jamaica in their own way. And so it is like across the board, it's just really, I feel, building tons and tons of confidence in the market and what we're doing here. So I just really wanted to just bring that to light, because I have more here, but we have our guest here, and I want to invite him on. So let's just go through these comments real quick, and then I will ask Dr. Dixon to join us. Andrew Blake says Sunshine Village is a wake-up call to invest in the grill sooner rather than later. Yeah, I mean, we got and then the article talked about the casino as well. 26 floors. The Pinnacle, we talked about 28 floors, which would be the tallest building in the Caribbean, I believe they said. And this one's going to be 26 floors. Yeah, definitely is a wake-up call, and like I said, I think it builds confidence in future investors thinking about coming to investing in Jamaica or investing in Negril for sure. Zoe Buckley will be in by 10:30 tomorrow morning. Oh, that's a long trip. Coming from Oregon. Okay, thanks for letting me know. What's going on, Vivian? Thanks for joining. Donna Bryce says the problem with these developments is that the infrastructure is never researched, completed in advance without being detrimental to local residents. So that's, and Mr. Issa talked about that on the the Sunshine Village Plaza video that was released on Thursday is the infrastructure. Like we're like in at least it's pushing like these investments, like it pushes infrastructure. Like you have to get sewage and you have to get an adequate amount of electricity in. You have to fix the roads. We need highways because like the bottlenecks are crazy. They've expanded the airport, which is great to handle the capacity of more people coming into the country. But absolutely, like the infrastructure needs to be pushed, and like that is a huge priority. Okay, just give me a quick. We're going to take a quick break here, just so we can adjust the setup. Hopefully, we can do it in 2 minutes. We're going to show what video should we show? Let's do the jellyfish video, and we should be ready. 2 minutes. See you in a second, and we'll be back with Dr. Dixon. Usually see some crazy stuff out here in the water, so I figured bring the GoPro today. See if we see anything. Hopefully nothing too crazy. I want to come back safe and sound. Enjoy. That was awesome. Those are my little adventures that I take every time I go out and swim. Always see something cool. Almost ran into that little one at the end, huh? We made it back safe and sound. Till the next adventure.
Look at you and look towards the camera.
Either way, yeah. Okay, we're back, and we have Dr. Dixon with us. Let's bring up that. Okay, that's much better. So thank you, Dr. Dixon, for making it here and being on the show.
Thank you, Winthrop. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. And so we'll get a background on you shortly, but what I was telling everybody was kind of just like a synopsis of the conversation that we were having under the tree there, and you just kind of giving me your experience about this trip and previous trips and the gaps that you were seeing in the healthcare, and how you're filling these gaps in your own way, and you're filling them in a very sustainable way and thinking more longevity than anything else. But before we dive into that, I would just like to give you an opportunity just to give a brief background on yourself, and then of course the Jah Jah Foundation and what you do.
Thanks, Winthrop. Well, my name is Trevor Dixon. As you know, I'm a physician. I work at Jacoby Medical Center in the Bronx, New York. I'm a New York kid, basically, but I was born in a rural community farming district called Christiana, Manchester. And I left Christiana, Manchester about the age of 10 and migrated to the United States, in particular East Flatbush, Brooklyn, Church Avenue and 45th Street. And that's how I started my journey. I was basically a Brooklyn kid, as you know, Brooklyn is a mecca for Jamaicans abroad. So I was able to hold on to my culture. I think living in Brooklyn, anything you want, Jamaican, you can go to Brooklyn and pretty much get it. So that's been my journey. I went to all the local schools in East Flatbush. I went to PS 135. Then, it's ironic. The high school that I went to was Wingate High School.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
So, I guess that's an inside joke for Winthrop and I, because I knew his father's business growing up in East Flatbush. I mean, that's the taxi we would call. We knew call Winthrop Car Service 209-1616, and Winthrop would come and pick you up wherever you are in Brooklyn. Two of my uncles, they were twins, Basil and Barris Baker. They worked for your father for many years.
Oh, get out
Yeah,
of here!
because
I didn't know that.
they lived around the corner from him on Winthrop Street.
Oh.
So your father's office was on Winthrop between 91st and 92nd.
Mhm.
And my uncles lived on 92nd between Winthrop and Clarkson.
Wow,
So
that's history right there.
so there you have it. So a lot of people would know, as my wife can tell you, my journey through this has been very interesting. I've always been connected somewhat to people who would later on prove to be instrumental in the Jah Jah Foundation. So I mean, there you have it in a nutshell. We've been doing medical missions here in Jamaica since about 2007, 2008. I started at Kingston Public Hospital as soon as I graduated from medical school in New Jersey, and I went directly to Kingston Public Hospital, and I said to Dr. Wong, who was then running the ER, saying, how can I help? And at first he was a little skeptical because people come back and all, we want to help, we want to help. He never sees them again for a period of time. So that was my challenge to be, sustainable, to not just come here because I have a whimp of an idea, and then how can I help Jamaica? And what was great was that the first medical mission we did was at the Kingston Public Hospital, teaching doctors how to use ultrasound. And it's interesting because my wife and I, we did our first ultrasound conference, and it was in a small room at the Kingston Public Hospital. To make a long story short, now we are at the Pegasus Hotel, and we have 50 to 80 guests. 50% of them, more than 50 of those participants are physicians all over Jamaica's public hospital, where we teach them how to use ultrasound in emergencies. And as you know, if it's an emergency, because I do trauma and emergency, that's what I do at Jacoby. And if it's an emergency, you want the ultrasound at the bedside. It's more efficient than even a CAT scan in many cases, because when somebody has internal bleeding, you just want to know if there's free fluid in their abdomen. And ultrasound is the quickest tool to determine if the patient needs to go to the OR right away, or do we have time to get a CAT scan or other imaging modalities. So we're able to teach those doctors how to use those imaging technologies at the bedside, and it's made a huge difference and a large impact on patient care here in Jamaica.
No, that's really really amazing that you're having such an impact. And the thing that we talk about so much here on the channel, like we talk about like the access to healthcare, we talk about the quality of healthcare, but one of the main concerns, and I tell people even from my own experience, I feel like Jamaica is very good for like just like general practitioner stuff. Like you can pretty much get any sort of medication, pharmaceutical that you would get in the States. They might be the generics. Like you'll be totally fine.
Absolutely.
Seeing a local doctor for like a flu or infection or something like that. I would say in some cases it's even better because the doctor will come right to you and come to your home or come here to the hotel and they come and see you. It's a little bit more convenient in that sense. But where I understand and I feel like Jamaica really lacks and could do some great improvement, and even the community here recognizes that as well, is in emergency situations, in trauma, the car accidents, when we're in Westmoreland, the bike capital of Jamaica. The bike accidents are crazy here.
Absolutely.
I've dealt with many myself.
Absolutely.
And so I think with the Jah Jah Foundation and what you are doing here in your approach, it's like it's so needed in a big way and in a sustainable way. And like, I mean, obviously I'm not a medical professional, but I didn't even know like you'd use an ultrasound. I think babies. But I didn't know you'd use it in like an emergency situation.
That's a very good question. Well, you mentioned the Jah Jah Foundation. I didn't even get to the point where we started the Jah Jah Foundation. Well, the Jah Jah Foundation, those acronyms, JAH stands for Jamaicans Abroad Helping Jamaicans at Home. So it seemed like a cute name, Jah Jah. And it's funny because when I first named it Jah Jah Foundation, a lot of people were like, you sure you want to use that name? Because what kind of funding are you going to get? Because people are going to associate it with the Rastafarian religion. So we didn't have to think long to say, no, this is a name. As they say in Jamaica, we name and we name, and we name not change, which means that's our name and we're going to stick to it. So so we stuck to the name. And it's funny, everyone who have met, despite they know the association with the Rastafarian culture, they embraced us, and then that's what the Rastafarian culture says. It's one of embracement of accepting who you are.
Mm.
So it was important for us to keep that name, and the Jah Jah Foundation has grown through not just the catchy name, but because of the work that we do here in Jamaica.
And what inspired you to even start the Jah Jah Foundation and do
It,
this work?
when I first started this foundation, I figured I'm a physician
Mhm.
and I can make a lot of money and I can fix Jamaica's problem by myself. But having a family, kids, and a wife, you realize that you have limited funds no matter who
Mhm.
you are. And so, living in Brooklyn, I was able to garner the support of a lot of my friends and family Jamaicans. And surprisingly, none of them were non Jamaicans who had the story about Jamaica, who visited Jamaica, or who wanted to visit Jamaica. And they just love the music, the culture, and the food. And my first fundraiser, I kept in Hackensack, New Jersey, and I have about 35 people showed up for a $12 plate uh, food, And through that, I realized, like, wow, people really love what I'm doing,
Mhm.
and they really see my passion. And I think that's the key why people actually come and support the Jah Jah Foundation. They see my honesty, they see my passion, they see my genuine love for Jamaica and want to make it a better place, and they support me. And we've grown a lot over the years, but it didn't start out so popular, but now it's a bit more
I was going
popular.
to ask, could you share any anecdotes with us about the first mission that you did here and how
Like I
that went?
said, the first mission was my wife and I. We did. We've mainly focused on public hospitals and how to
Mhm.
improve the care there. Because we said we wanted to do something that's sustainable.
Right.
You give a man a fish today, he eats today. But if you teach him how to fish, he eats for life. So that was our philosophy. So sharing. I don't even call it educating. I call it sharing knowledge with our brothers and sisters in the medical field here has been our primary goal. Where we go into the hospitals. We sat with Dr. Wong. What are the needs in Jamaica's public hospital? Because it's so easy to stay on the outside and think
Right.
what works in Jamaica and what doesn't. But when you sit and talk with people who are on the ground, the boots on the ground, and you find out what do the hospitals need, you're able to make a bigger impact. So my wife and I started, the first,
Sure. Okay.
right,
Gotcha.
and then through there, I looked around at King's Hospital. I'm like, wow, this hospital hasn't been renovated for past 30.
There we go. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So one of our, I guess our second major project was at the Kingston Public Hospital, where we looked at the emergency room and said, how can we make this place just more appealing? Because I've always said, as physicians, we can't always save everyone from death, but people deserve the right to die in dignity, and I've always been very passionate about that. And why do I say that? Some of the rooms they have for women's health, like they have what's called the stirrups or the bed for OB/GYN. They were very old, and some of them were wood based, and with the termites here, we had ill appearance. So we renovated 4 rooms at the Kingston Public Hospital, and that was a major project for us. So through that we realized that we can make small changes, and as my friend Erwin Clare would say, he's from the diaspora leaders. He says, try to attack the low hanging fruits, and
Yeah.
you'll be more effective than looking at the whole big picture and trying to get frustrated. So we've been able to what we think attack low hanging fruits, which is what brought us to the EMS project here in Negril.
And I definitely want to get into that
Yeah,
in a large way.
yeah.
And you had quite I thought a large number of medical
Yes.
professionals come in. And so, like, how did you grow from just you and your wife to the large group that I saw last week?
I work primarily in the emergency department. I think through my passion, people saw my passion, and some of the nurses would say, "How can I go to? How can I help? How can I help?" So I started to do what's called medical mission,
Hmm.
and our first medical mission was actually one other physician beside myself, Dr. Parchment from out of Maplewood, New Jersey, and 3 nurses in the emergency room at what was then Newark Beth Israel Medical Center, Newark. And we said, you know, we started to form a medical mission. I guess I didn't even think it was a medical mission. I was just bringing health professionals down to help tackle some of the problems. And I think one of the first places we went was probably I think it was may have been Ulster Spring in Trelawney,
Okay.
and we went there and we saw patients there, and we went there for kept on going back there for a couple of years, and it just kind of grew where more and more people wanted to help. And we're saying Jamaicans, and I'm not saying non-Jamaicans,
Mhm.
but they just had a love for Jamaica. As you know, once somebody comes to Jamaica and they visit Jamaica, there's a lot.
Mhm.
Once you come to Jamaica, you see that the majority of people, like 99% of the people here, are warm, friendly, and very giving.
Mhm.
So,
Hold on 1 second. Yep. Go ahead. Keep going.
people were able to see that, and they decided to want to be a part, more of a part of it. Now, when I
Sorry, 1 second. I think we're losing you for. There we go. Can you talk into it?
want to,
There
yes.
you go. Yeah.
Okay. So as I said, working in the hospital, just to fast forward quickly, more people saw what we were doing in the hospitals, and they said, "How can I be a part of your medical mission?" So I was able to. Basically, we're at the point now that we have to tell people we can't accommodate them because, as you know, we have a brainstorm behind this organization. Her name is Karen Shields, and she pretty much coordinates who can come, how can we accommodate them, do we have enough room to accommodate them, transportation, because we don't always get things for free. So through our fundraising dollars, we have to kind of allocate certain amount to for transportation, certain amount for hotels and stuff like that. So it's a business. It's like running a business to effectively execute a mission that not only the patients that we see are well taken care of, but our volunteers. And of course, these are primarily volunteers. Nobody gets paid to come to Jamaica and help the poor. They volunteer their time and they volunteer their vacation time. You
Mhm.
know, so it's admirable the volunteers and the supporters and the sponsors for Jah Jah Foundation, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do it. So that's important to note too. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, big shout out to all the volunteers from the Jah Jah Foundation. And I just want to put up while we're talking so everybody can visit the website. Is it jahjahfoundation.org?
Yes, it is.
And if you have any questions for Dr. Dixon, just please put them in the comments. I will get to them later. So just throw them in there wherever we are in the conversation, and we'll get to your questions, and we'll have Dr. Dixon answer them to the best of his knowledge. 1 second. Let's get this banner up. There we go.
I might want to. You hear me?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I got the banner up there so people can see the website. So,
Yeah.
and you can, and as we go through, if you want to visit the website, have any questions or anything like
Or
that,
donation.
yes, any donations that you would like to make, and as you hear and go through the story, as we go through. So what I'd like to move into now is really to talk about like this mission that you went on recently, and I guess let's start. I have my own questions, but I guess let's start. If you can just give us an overview of how everything went, what were your expectations, your plans coming into it, and like how did that go versus the actual execution of the mission?
Yeah, this mission was, we knew ahead of time this would be our largest mission, where we have 50 volunteers. Usually our volunteers vary from 20 to 40. And this year it's like 50 volunteers who actually volunteer with us, who actually travel from abroad.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So we had to find hotel room for 50 volunteers. And, some of them, you can't just pair people up with how you think. It's not that simple to say, "There are 25 room, two in a room." Some hotels don't have the capability of accommodating so many guests. So that was a challenge. And Karen Shields, again, one of our major directors behind the Jah Jah Foundation, she was able to, she looked around to see which hotels could accommodate us. Not only which hotels can accommodate us, for what price they can accommodate us for, because it has to make sense. We can't come here and expect to stay at a 5-star all inclusive where the cost can be astronomical, and then what do you get back in return for that?
Right.
Yeah, they're working all day. They just wanted someplace to come comfortable where they could sleep, and the food was great, the music was great, and the environment was great. You're on the beach, so um, this year travelers met that criteria for us. So this plan this planning started about a year in advance. As soon
Mhm.
as the mission was done, we say, you know what, Trevor, we have to find somewhere else to stay. So we looked around. We spoke to the staff at different hotels, and our travelers was a good fit for us. The management understood what we were doing, and I think they met us in a way that they were making a sacrifice, but they understood that the sacrifice was.
So sorry. Okay. Yep. Go ahead. You're talking about the
What's
mission.
interesting about our
Yeah.
mission is we don't just stay in as more of what we started. So we still actually we've expanded our ultrasound program where we do 2 days in Kingston, and this year we had 50 doctors come on board to learn how to do ultrasound. And we have expanded our ultrasound program to involve OBGYN, which is basically women's health.
Hmm.
And as you know, fetal and maternal death is a big problem in not only Jamaica, in the world. The U.S. Maternal fetal death is about 40 to 50 mothers who die per 100,000 in delivery, something as basic and natural as delivery.
Yeah.
We have women who die from there. Jamaica's number is close in the hundreds, like 120, 150 per live per live birth. So that's an area that we knew we had to help and tackle also. We formed actually a partnership this year with American Friends of Jamaica, AFJ. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yes.
They're one of the
Yes.
largest charity organization here in the island, and they saw what Jah Jah was doing over the years. And despite having a name as Jah Jah Foundation, they knew they had to somewhat learn more about what we do and see if that would work for them. And they were able to see the product that we offer, and they says we'll be happy to partner with Jah Jah Foundation. So what does that partnership mean? It means that American Friends of Jamaica, AFJ, they don't have the medical background, so they bought these handheld devices, these handheld ultrasound devices, which cost about 2,500 to 3,000 US dollars. And what this meant, they were able to fit more hospitals, more public hospitals with ultrasound in the emergency department. Last year, we started a program, a pilot program called JHUB,
Hmm.
JHUP, which means Jamaican Handheld Ultrasound Project. And they gave us about 25 devices last year, and this year they were able to give us additional 10. And these are for public hospitals, not for private institutions, for public hospitals where these doctors now have these tools in their hand that when you come in the emergency room having any kind of abdominal pain and any problem, chest pain in your heart, they can use the ultrasound to rule out things like make sure you're not having a heart attack, make sure you don't have a blood clot, or make sure you don't have free fluid in your abdomen or any kind of gallbladder disease or anything like that. So, AFJ being partnering with us was was a big move for us, and it was a great move for them also. So,
Amazing.
and
Congrats on
so
that.
for 2 days in Kingston at the Pegasus.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So for 2 days in Kingston, we trained those doctors, and then the group were actually visiting local communities within Kingston. And I say Kingston, we extended to St. Thomas this year because logistically we could be based in Kingston, but we're able to travel to St. Thomas in one day and come back in and rest in Kingston before we traveled. Yeah, and we did a high school in Kingston called St. Andrew Nicol High School. We brought a team of about 40 doctors and nurses and other
Hmm.
staff in there where they saw patients, diagnose disease, and give them, medications, prescriptions, and stuff like that. So we were able to have a larger impact on Monday and Tuesday. And Wednesday, we went to a local community in Trelawney called Ulster Spring, which is near Albertown. It's a farm district, and we were able to see patients there. And we were able to make some significant diagnosis there, which we weren't planning on finding acute illness. But we had one lady who had fluid in her heart, and we had to rush her to the local hospital because
Wow.
they have no system. There's no EMS system in rural areas. So we had to become the ambulance to bring that lady to the hospital. And we're happy to report that we got a follow up on that patient, and they were able to remove the fluid from her heart. because had that fluid not been removed from her heart, she would have died.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she probably would have been told she died of natural causes, which is it was a preventable cause. They transferred her from Falmouth to Cornwall Regional, and they removed 500 cc's of fluid, which is almost like a half a gallon of fluid that was on her heart, preventing her from breathing.
Oh
So
my
that's
gosh.
great. That was great news.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And that's what I was like, literally, and in the description for this video, like you're literally changing lives and saving lives. That's what I've been there. And like,
yeah,
that's like a crazy real world example of that.
yeah.
I do want to step back and kind of get a little bit into the technicalities of the statistics that you were saying before about the, I don't remember exactly what it was, but the mothers who die at birth.
Yeah.
And you were saying, what is that actually called?
Maternal fetal death.
Maternal fetal death. So you said the maternal fetal death in the U.S. is about 40 to 50 per 100,000,
Yeah, something like
and here in Jamaica you're looking at 120. So
that. Yeah.
you know, double or more. Could you give us some insights as to why there is such a big disparity, and why is the U.S. performing so much better than Jamaica, and perhaps why Jamaica has had challenges with that?
Um, to the exact reason, it's hard to really know. But we know a lot of it has to do with some of it has education, maternal, it's something we can that's dumped into that statistics, which is mainly stillbirth. Right? When baby is born within the first, some babies suffer from sudden death, and people don't know why. And they think that when babies sleep on their stomach, that can stop their breathing. So mothers encouraged to have babies sleep on their back. And having two kids in face is almost impossible to ensure that babies are always sleeping on their back. But these are some of the causes they think that can
Yeah, we have audio but no video. 1 second, everybody. I'm not sure what's happening with the video. One moment, please. Everyone, sorry, we're having a little technical issue with the video. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm just gonna put up a quick break while I try to figure this out. I'm not sure exactly why it's not working here. And I'd say like this is pretty typical in terms of traffic on the West End. It's not really a crowded place. The roads are narrow, but it's relatively safe as far as traffic goes. I guess because it's like so windy, you're forced to slow down, and also there are just not a lot of cars there. I bike here, I run here as well, and I like it a little bit better than the beach in the sense of there just not being that many cars passing and driving towards you. It's La Mirage Hotel. That's the sister property to Shirella Inn. Both great small properties, locally owned. It seems like I'm driving fast, but I don't think I'm driving fast. These properties are just like whizzing by. There's Ivan's, otherwise known as Catch a Falling Star. Again, one of my favorite restaurants, I would say, too. Highly recommend them. They do really good stuff, great service and great food. Coming up here on the right, this is the world famous Rick's Cafe, where you can do cliff jumping if you are brave enough, but it's definitely, I would say, the most popular place, bar and a grill, place to go and to grill. LTU, that's a popular expat bar. And they do their famous Halloween party every October as well. I've never been, but I hear stories. I hear it's a lot of fun. Little girl saying hello. Sorry about that. I don't know why the camera wasn't working, but we're working now. Thank you, Shayna, for the correction. Yeah, right. It's always something, right?
He doesn't like good content. So.
Right? What the heck? Okay, we're good to go now. So where were we? Oh yeah, we were talking about the statistics of comparing, and you were giving us the
thought behind it,
right? And why you were talking about the babies better to sleep on their back than on their stomach.
Yeah, those are some of the causes.
Right.
So some of the most definitive causes we know is when a woman's placenta is overriding. The placenta is what sustains a child with nutrients while it's in the mother's womb. Now, if that placenta it contains a lot of blood vessels and nutrients and stuff. If that placenta is overlying where the babies come out, and the doctors don't know ahead of time, that creates a major problem with bleeding. And that bleeding happens so fast that a lot of these patients, these women, and the fetus end up dying. And it happens a lot more often than we think.
And with the ultrasound,
it shows you exactly where the placenta is.
Gotcha.
So if you know ahead of time, you can prepare. Instead of having natural delivery, you can do what's called a C-section to avoid the canal, the birth canal. That's one example. Sometimes if a woman's in a car accident and any kind of trauma, blunt trauma, and she falls or something, and she can be bleeding on the inside and you don't realize it until a very late time. So the ultrasound sometimes can help you. Sometimes doctors can use their what's called gestalt, just their experience to know that this is probably what's going wrong. But not oftentimes, you know, gestalt doesn't work for you. Technology, being able to see with imaging what's going on is a lot more helpful than not being able to see what's going on the inside.
Okay. So you, I mean, so from what you're telling me, like it's part education, you know, in educating the mother to be
Absolutely,
and the mother and then also from technology as well
Technology.
can really help and make the
Absolutely.
difference.
Yes, you can do fetal monitoring. Those devices kind of help to prevent a lot of these deaths.
I see. Okay. No, that's great. I was just curious about that because like I know that that's one of like the main statistics that uh is it the UN, but they look at when they like looking at and ranking countries.
Absolutely, they
Yeah.
rank countries based on maternal fetal death, and that rate
Hmm.
tells a lot about indirectly about the healthcare system at times,
Right.
wrong or right.
Hmm.
And there are countries in Africa who don't have as much technology, and their numbers are lower. So there's a lot of variables that go into it. So we have to figure out what those variables are. Yeah.
Interesting. And with I want to talk a little bit about these ultrasound machines itself. And as we started, we were talking about the sustainability of the Jah Jah Foundation and the implementation of what they're doing. And so, could you tell us a little bit about these handheld ultrasound machines and how they work and what they do,
So
and the difference between that and like a regular ultrasound machine?
like a regular ultrasound machine that when you go into a hospital, you'll see can vary from $60,000 to 150, $200,000. And some of them have more what's called bells and whistles,
Hmm.
stuff that we'll never use in emergency ultrasound. So, um, companies have been working on this for years. And of course, some of the bigger companies have been fighting these new technologies because now ultrasound, these handheld devices, you can get them for $2,500 opposed to $60,000. So when a government looks at its budget of what it has to allocate for healthcare, and they have to spend $60,000 to $100,000 on a machine, they're gonna be like, maybe we can spend that money elsewhere in
Right.
medications or supplies for the hospital. So we understand the challenges some of these developing countries have of making these tough decisions of getting these ultrasound devices. So that's why organizations such as American Friends of Jamaica being able to say, "Hey, government, we'll take the burden off of you, and we'll buy 25 of these handheld devices." Now, let's be honest. It took great intuition for American Friends of Jamaica to realize that, hey, this is something that we need to get. Sometimes in the governments, there's statisticians, they don't understand on the ground how does this help the physician. And once they understand how this helped the physician, and unfortunately, we had to actually bring the technology here, have the doctors demand for them to have it, for us to have it. So now the doctors have the tools they need to make that difference. And the price point is key. So American Friends of Jamaica, if you had to buy a traditional machine, 60, 75,000, they won't be able to buy maybe one or two of these
Right.
devices. Now, because of the price point, they can buy 25 of these devices and give it to 25 different hospitals. And these doctors have these in their hand in the emergency room, rural hospitals like Percy Jr. in Spalding's, Clarendon, um, Lucy Hospital, hospitals who would not have been able to get these bigger devices. Now they have the tools that they need to make a difference. And I can tell you, at Jacoby Medical Center in the Bronx, where I work, every 2 weeks we put a different hospital in a conference, and they're presenting these cases to us from Jamaica via Zoom.
Wow.
So they give us 5 or 6 different cases, so we see how well are they using the technology. And I can tell you, they are surpassing our expectation as far as making these diagnoses so early, because we've only been doing this for about 6 months now. And if you see the cases they're presenting, you blow your mind.
So I just want to be clear. You you get these devices through partnership with American Friends of Jamaica.
Yes,
You go to these hospitals, visit these physicians, you train them how to use them,
yes,
use a device, you give it to them. And then on top of that, when you get back to New York,
ongoing.
they're giving you presentations on
Every
how
two
they
weeks.
use it every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks they gather the cases, and like in this week we give them a schedule of who will be presenting, so they know ahead of time.
Hmm.
So 1 week is Spanish Town Hospital. The next 2 weeks is Cornwall Regional. The next 2 weeks is going to be Kingston Public Hospital. Next week is going to be University of the West Indies. We have a whole checklist, so you have enough time to prepare your cases. And we tell you if you're having any technical issues, because we know
Hmm.
sometimes you do, let us know early. And we know we're fortunate. We have facilities who are stronger than others. Like Black River is our gold standard.
Oh,
Sometimes,
really? Okay.
yeah, because it's a small rural hospital, Black River. But the way how Black River is run, I can call the SMOs, Dr. Imaru. I can call Dr. Stephen Fu. Say, listen, such a hospital is having a hard time presenting. Can you present this week? If they're sure, and they're able to present 5 or 6 cases. So it's been going great, and it's because of a partnership, not just with us, But with the hospitals in Jamaica, they understand the importance of these technology. The physicians there understand the importance, and they're meeting us halfway, which is all we ask for.
What does SMO stand for?
Senior medical officer.
Okay, got it. Just want to be clear on that. And have you seen or were you presented with any cases that either surprised you or maybe they were using the device in a way that you wouldn't have expected?
Every day. We taught them different modalities, which mean different ways how to use the ultrasound, and we taught them how to use it to look at the eyes.
Mhm.
If somebody comes in with blurry vision, is it blurry vision because they have diabetes for a long time, or is it because of what's called a retinal detachment? And ultrasound can rule out bad things. Like sometimes they find a retinal detachment, which means the retina is detached from the back of your eyeball, and that can cause you to see flashes of lights and different things. So those are the cases we didn't think they would be ready to do
Wow.
that, and they're doing that. There's another pathology called AAA, which is abdominal aortic aneurysm. This means the main artery in your body it can become dilated to the point where it can kill you, it can rupture. And they had a case of a patient who had a AAA that was almost about to rupture, and if they didn't complain of abdominal pain, and as you know, abdominal pain can be very vague. It could be anything from
Gas.
constipation,
That's what I
gas.
say here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, wow.
Yeah. We actually have a video up of an instance where we went into a rural community and a woman said she was complaining of dizziness and weakness for several weeks. And she went to the doctor, several visits complaining about that. They did the blood work, it didn't show anything. And my team of doctors that I brought down, one of them put the ultrasound, the same handheld device, put it over her chest, and they were able to see the large amount of fluid, as I said, that was
Wow.
around the lady's heart. So it's unbelievable what we're discovering. I'm so happy and I'm so humbled to be a part of this journey as we try to make a better Jamaica for everyone. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's so amazing, so
Yeah.
amazing. And what you also told me about the device as well is that it's low to no maintenance.
Right. These devices are it's one transducer.
Mm.
Typically, a physician would have to change three different transducers to make the same diagnosis. This company called Butterfly, and there are other companies out there. GE also has this, but Butterfly is one who actually met us and who's provided not just the devices, but then allowed us a way of to uh, store it digitally on the iCloud. So Butterfly, these devices are pretty much maintenance free. If you have a problem with them in a certain time period, they just take them back. And imagine trying to transport a device like this to take them back to the States. It's a lot easier to
Right.
get the devices back to us in the States and somewhat swap them out because they've been pretty good with us as far as exchanging, and I mean things happen, so they've been
Right.
pretty good in maintenance and also honoring our desire to have this keep going. So yeah.
No, that's great. And I feel like that, we have a lot of organizations from abroad, from all over, that come to Jamaica and help. And I always say, like, we need the help for sure, and many areas, especially the rural areas, need help. But I think it's so important to do it in a sustainable way that just doesn't impact people on the day that you do it, but how is it going to impact the community in perpetuity? For those that just joining, our guest here today is Dr. Trevor Dixon from the Jah Jah Foundation, Jamaicans Abroad, helping Jamaicans at home. And we are talking about medical missions, the recent medical mission that they just did last week, and we're going through the history of the organization and the impact that they're having on Jamaica. So, if you have any questions at all for Dr. Dixon, please bring them in. We got about another half hour, 45 minutes or so on this. I don't know if you're going to stay the whole time, but
I'm here for
okay.
Jamaica.
Cool. Awesome. I love it. So please get your questions in. Would love to hear from you all. And please check out his website, jahjahfoundation.org. And if you're so inclined to make a donation, it's a great organization that is really making a huge impact. And as we're discussing here, an impact not just on the day or days that they're here doing the medical missions, but also in a sustainable way, having the case presentations every 2 weeks from these hospitals, and then also these physicians, and then also having the devices that they use, forever for the most part. Getting back to this year's medical mission, you were telling me about a story or stories that happened that luckily or unluckily enough that your team was on their way to the hospital and there were car accidents that you had interjected with, and I say luckily you were there in a sense that, and unlucky that these people got in a car accident. But I
Right.
was just like, man, what are the chances?
Winthrop, it's a good question. Let me first say you mentioned sustainability.
Yeah.
I do medical missions because it's a way for us to raise funds.
Hmm.
You know, but also I realize that medical missions are just that they're medical missions. And that part of healthcare in Jamaica is called gap filling. In
Mm.
other words, we provided more access for patients to come and get the healthcare that they need. But I've always identified that that's not what's going to move us forward.
Right,
Right?
right.
That's just gap filling. That need is always going to be there. People need to see the doctor. But how do you do something that's more sustainable? And that's God has blessed me to be able to do ultrasound. So I share that with the doctors, and I'm happy to come back. The first year, my team from Jacoby, we were presenting 85, 90% of the cases, 99% of the cases. This year we came back, we were doing 40% of the cases. Jamaica was doing 60% of the
That's
cases.
awesome.
And next year we would come back. If they're not doing 80% of the cases, then we would have failed. And that's what sustainability comes about.
I love that.
We will, at the Jah Jah Foundation, we know we have to support the physical conference, paying for the food and all that stuff. But as far as the education that goes on there, it's primarily going to be run by Jamaican physicians presenting their cases in an organized way. So that's one form of sustainability that we looked at, and I've always looked at sustainable project, and which brings us to the dental suite that we built here
Mhm.
in the grill
Yes.
2019. So that's another project that we've done. I'll pause to see if you want to go in that direction
No,
of it.
no, I definitely. I wanted you to tell about the impact that you had with the accidents, but like I definitely want to hear about that because like I see that for those that don't know, downtown Negril, we have the Negril Health Center, and uh, when you're going in to the left, there's a container that is a dental facility that was
Converted into yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, container converted into a dental facility right next to the child prosthetic
Yeah,
care house, right?
yeah.
So yeah, I guess let's hop right into that and how that came about and how that's going.
Yeah, so the dental suite. I mean, I have to mention, the Negril Chamber of Commerce, of
Hmm.
course, because they empowered me.
Yeah.
Because when you go into community, any community, and Negril is no exception, you have to be welcomed in. You have to have what we call local champions. That means people who share the vision that you share. And I think Negril, for the most part, is unique in the sense that I think it has probably the highest besides Mandeville, Manchester.
Hmm.
It has the highest concentration of returning residents or people expats or people who are from somewhere else who's from a more developed country, and they come here, they want to enjoy the sunshine and all that stuff. So they were able to see that, um, if we could do something for the healthcare, and it's not just for the tourists that comes in these communities, it's for the workers who work in a lot of these hotels.
Right.
Most of them come from either Negril area or nearby communities, whether it's Sheffield or Savlamar or going the other direction, Lucy or Green Island or Orange Bay. So these people who come into these community, they they deserve to have health care. And oftentimes these hotels, the smaller boutique hotels, it's hard for them to really cover all of their health costs.
Mhm.
So us being able to build a dental suite here in the grill, they understood what we were doing and they have supported us to make this a successful initiative. So what is this dental suite about? It's a public a dime for their care. And we're talking about dental cleaning, um, dental extractions, and we're moving towards dental fillings as we go forward. And how are we able to do this? Because of the local support we get from these hotels, these boutique hotels, or most of them are members of the Negril Chamber of Commerce. I mean, Travelers is one of those hotels. And otherwise, it's like, why would I come here and not know the lay of the land? And you guys are in the grill are able to show us the lay of the land and what will work, what
Mhm.
won't work, and more importantly, you those obstacles that we would have normally had, you guys clear those obstacles for us because you know how to clear these obstacles because you live here, and we're able to encourage now. Now we met someone yesterday from another medical mission in California who wants to use a dental suite when they're here.
Awesome.
So how is that more sustainable? That means when we are here, we're not here. We have 3 dental chairs in there, and I don't know if you understand how dentists work. When they have to work in the field without the proper dental chairs and all that, it makes their hard so much, makes their job so much harder. But having dental chairs that they can raise and lower and everything allows them to see a lot more patients in that a lot of times. So we're encouraging other medical missions through the Chamber of Commerce to regulate who's coming in here to using these devices. But once you get the approval from the Chamber of Commerce and you come here as a medical mission, you can use these dental chairs to see patients within the community for free. You have a wonderful stay at these hotels. They take care of you,
Mhm.
and you know what better tip to give a worker than to have them have free dental care, which can be pretty expensive here in Jamaica.
No, I think that's fantastic. And I think that sometimes is underappreciated, the importance of dental hygiene and dental care. And as you were saying that, I was thinking, wondering like what your perspective is on not just dental care, but like what is the cost? You don't got to give me a number, but like what is
Uh-huh.
like the cost to like Jamaica of not having uh good medical, good dental. I mean, and there's so many dominoes that fall with that, right?
Yeah.
And then especially when you get into like the law of large numbers and how it's affecting like the masses and larger communities. So yeah, if you could speak to that perspective.
It's multifactorial.
Hmm.
It starts with first with diet. A lot of these drinks that are out there, they're high concentration of sugar, which leads to the decay of the tooth, and that decay leads to poor dental hygiene. We see patients, young children, with like all their teeth are rotten. Cavities.
Crazy.
Yeah, and so it starts there with education.
So I was gonna say like, and I think some people don't think about this. So you have a young child whose teeth are rotten and they don't have their teeth anymore, and what they're 10 12 years old or whatever it is, and we're talking the next 60 years of their life or whatever it is, however long they live, they don't have teeth. Like, imagine how that affects you from a confidence standpoint,
Absolutely.
how your nutrition and what you can eat and what you can digest. And you got to think this, like, how can this person not only reach their potential as a human being, but what sort of impact are they going to have on their country, and how are they going to be able to contribute to society in a meaningful way? And yeah, like, oh, he or she doesn't have their teeth, too bad. Like, no, that's a person, and that could be somebody who could be having a greater impact on productivity and on society, but because they don't have teeth, they can't.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's so much factors when somebody doesn't have good teeth, not just the pain that they're in at night. We met one person at the health fair says he can't afford a dentist, and this is obviously a bizarre story. It's not the norm.
Hmm.
We say he used a hammer to hit his teeth out of his mouth. We're like, how could you? And
Because he was in so much pain.
yeah,
Oh
and
man.
you can imagine that people can actually feel that way. I
Yeah.
mean, if you can't imagine that, then you really don't understand poverty and
Yeah.
how people feel like that's the only way they have out. Um, so as dental hygiene, having a smile, it literally makes you more employable,
There you go. Yeah.
right? So if you want to help employment, fine dentition is one. I mean, you know, when I lived in Jamaica, just to give you a little story, when I lived in Jamaica, my grandmother, and we weren't poor by any means.
Mhm.
We lived in Christiana, and there's a dentist at Spalding, Percy Junior Hospital in Spalding, and she used to get me up early. I remember that. I couldn't have been more than 7, 8 years old. She used to get me up early because the dentist there would take the first 10 patients for free.
Oh wow.
And I remember that clearly.
Mm.
And because I was scared of the dentist. I'm still to this day. But um so, so we would go. I used to walk the distance because there's no back in those days there was no taxis that ran that at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And back in those days, Jamaica had so much less vehicles that I remember standing in Christiana trying to find a taxi or something to go to the hospital, and we knew Spalding's Hospital, and I remember the lady used to bring us. It was my grandma. She said, "Don't worry, when you come back, we're gonna give you a nutriment." And every kid loved it. Dr. Marksman, who was a dentist in Percy Junior at the time, he was see the first 10 patients for free, and I had to make sure I was one of those first 10. Had to go and bear it anyway. So dental care is very, very passionate, for me, because I know how I was, and somebody gave me free dental care. So I know being able to offer free dental care here in Negril or wherever we go to do our medical missions is important. Time for free. They're closing their practices for a week, closing their dental practice for a week to come to Jamaica to serve those who are less fortunate. What more can we really ask for?
Right.
And that's what the Jah Jah Foundation is all about. So,
No, that's amazing. Again, super, super, super impactful. And I kind of want to go a little bit broader and get your understanding. You've done. We were talking about under the tree in Jamaica, and you were coming up with an idea talking about emergency services that you think that can have even greater impact. And I guess generally, if you can speak to some of these gaps, because with our community here, that's one of the main things that we're concerned about, because it's mostly people and they care about their healthcare, especially in going.
so let's face it, right? Jamaica, folks who can afford to actually three worlds.
Mhm.
They have patients who are able to go to private physician facilities, whether it's University of the West Indies or G West or Bay West or whatever you may call. They can Hospian. They have people who can actually go there for low impact stuff, emergency, but still they're fixable. So those folks are able to gravitate there. So if you're fortunate, you have money, you can go there, right? The problem comes in, and then you have another tier of people who they can be flown out the country,
Right.
which is another tier, right? So let's talk about people who can go to Hospian. They can go there, but sometimes when they're here in Negril or any of these other rural communities, getting transportation to go to these places sometimes it can be expensive
Yeah.
and it can be not accessible right away.
And when you say transportation, you're talking about via an ambulance.
An ambulance,
Right.
okay. We hear some of the stories here of patients who survive an accident, but just because of how they're transported to the hospital. Face it, you look at these guys on these bikes and you're saying, you know what, yeah, they somewhat deserve what they get because of the way they were. I understand that
Mhm.
thinking, but let's face it, if you're in a car accident, avoiding one of these bikes, and you're severely injured, you deserve the same care as anyone else.
Right.
And let's just face it, you're gonna get the same care as that guy who had the bike accident. So don't kid yourself to think that you can have an accident in here, because I can tell you, I live in the States and I get a lot of phone call from people who want to be transported from out of Jamaica somewhere else, and they can't even find an ambulance to take them in a timely manner. Sure, you can get an ambulance eventually, but we need people to have free access to ambulances. Everyone deserves health care. It's not a privilege. It's a right for every
Right.
citizen to be at least transported somewhere where somebody can try and save their life. We can't save every life. I'm not here to think we can save every life, but we can't be changed by earth problem. But we don't get to fix this problem by kicking the can down the road. We have to put. I
think, yeah.
It's a lot of trust connection here, like there is in every country on earth. For instance, we have an ambulance we're trying to bring into the country now.
I was gonna ask about that.
Okay. It's been here since August 24th. And we're now in January 26th, 27th, 28th, right? And it's been sitting at the customs brokers lot because the government somewhat don't believe that the Jah Jah Foundation deserve a waiver. Okay. And I think that's fair. How did that thought come about? It came about because of abuse. People were given, people gave the pretense they were going to bring in a public ambulance and they turned it into a private ambulance. So here I am.
I see.
That's what happened.
Okay.
Okay. So the government say, you know what? We're not going to give any more waivers for ambulance. If you have an ambulance, you have to pay 65% duty on that cost of that ambulance to bring the ambulance in the country. Like,
That they made this blanket rule.
I'm not going to say it's a blanket rule, but this is what we were told. Okay.
So let me tell you two stories about this, right? So I was at the diaspora conference that the government puts on every 2 years in Kingston. So this was 2 conferences ago. So we're looking at about maybe 3, 4. So call it 6 years ago. And I went to, it was my first time going, went to it, and it was like, have you been to this conference before in Kingston?
No, I haven't been fortunate.
It's
I try to avoid them.
I was gonna say. So a lot of politics, bureaucracy, all that sort of thing. And there was this group who had an ambulance on the wharf for like, it was almost, I feel like it was more than a year. I want to say it was years. And it wasn't until somebody stood up in the meeting and say, like, where the meeting was at 10 a.m. It was like kind of like set up like the UN, and said, they were basically complaining and embarrassed the government that how can this ambulance be on the wharf and being held up for all this time. And then I forget which minister, well, actually I know which minister it is. I'm not going to say who it is. But later that afternoon, he came back, made the announcement that it's going to be cleared. I was like,
My thing,
that's crazy.
That's my thing. I don't want it to work that way.
Right.
I don't want a bly.
It shouldn't work that way at all.
I need a system in place that when certain organizations call and say, this is what we're doing, there's some credibility to it.
Right.
They need to vet these organizations and know who's doing what or who's doing corruption, because they know who they are.
Right.
Corruption works both ways.
Mm.
It's somebody be given a bly and somebody who's collecting that money.
There you go.
Okay. So they need to figure that out. But don't let the people of Jamaica suffer because you don't have the right regulatory in place to know that Jah Jah Foundation bringing an ambulance could only be beneficial to the country. There's no hidden agenda. There's no hidden profits to be made. We're going to work with the fire brigade. That ambulance will be parked down when it's in service and operational.
Right.
You will see it in the Grill fire station. There's no special number to call us. It's going to come through in the Grill fire brigade. And when they're deployed to a car accident where there are usually more than one person injured, right? So what's one ambulance going to do?
No. And so now you made me think of another story. So I got 2 more stories. So another story we had through a nonprofit organization, through NEAT, the Girls Education Environment Trust. We had, this was probably close to 10 years ago. We had, I think it was, man, I forget how many hospital beds. The number I have in my head is 8 hospital beds that we were donated, that we shipped in, all our costs and everything like that. And we were trying to donate them to Lucy Hospital. And we knew, like, there were people, like, at the time, they were like patients like laying on the floor, sitting on a chair, and it was held up for like almost close to a year.
I believe,
and just going through the process, the bureaucracy, and we're just like, man, they need the beds. They need the beds. And we're doing everything that they were saying and this and that. And I mean, finally, we were able to release it. And it was just like, man, how many people, just couldn't get that, just have dignity to be in a proper hospital bed. So I'm very familiar with that. Last story I'll give, and then hopefully this will help you avoid a situation like this. This was around 2008. Negril got an ambulance donated to down there to the fire brigade, and it was a brand new Mercedes-Benz ambulance, and I
remember that ambulance.
It was just there sitting, and it's a public ambulance, and the only reason why the ambulance wasn't in use was because the powers that be, the politics, they couldn't come down to do the ribbon cutting ceremony for the ambulance to be in use. So it was sitting there, had the plastic wrap, everything on it. While it was sitting down there, unfortunately, we had this girl, LaShawn. She was an intern here at Travelers, and 19 years old, walking out of work. She was interning here, and she got hit by a speeding driver. Horrific accident. Like flew in the air, hit the ground. Like it was just bad. My brother was actually like trying to save her life, and and
sorry to hear. I didn't know
yeah,
that happened.
and as you can imagine, it's just like pandemonium when accidents in Jamaica. Like I always say, Jamaicans do not know how to handle themselves in emergency situations. Like they just don't. And so like my brother tried to take control of the situation, was trying to save her life, like trying like holding her head and everything like that. And we were just waiting. And I just remember him telling me the story after and what was going through his mind. He was just like, you're doing everything that you can, but in the back of your head and in the back of your mind, like, but you have this hope that like you're just waiting for that help. Somebody's coming to take this over. Somebody's going to come help. And nobody came. And to your point earlier about the transportation to the hospital, they had to put her in the back of a police vehicle, trunk open, legs dangling out. And he said as soon as they put her inside there, he knew that she was dead. And got to the hospital, and she was dead. And my point in telling that story is like the unfortunate, really, really unfortunate thing was this is like we had a brand new ambulance downtown, brand new, sitting there. And I'm not gonna say that her life would have been saved if we had the ambulance. I will say she would have had a much better chance, much better chance. And so it's just like one of those things. It's like when we talk about getting in our own way, like man, come on, and that's been like just a few of my experiences.
And those things don't leave you. You don't.
No,
leave you,
not at all.
You bury them, but trust me, my wife and I've been reading this book about trauma. The body keeps score.
Okay.
Yeah. So all these things that you see, it plays into your psyche, and this is just you. How about that family? Who've lost, a significant member of their family. We can move on, but the body keeps score of these different traumas. So, is that in mind where we're here trying to do the best we can? Can I save the world? No. But if somebody see what we're doing, it's called everything we do is called a pilot program.
Yeah.
The ultrasound program is called a pilot program. I don't think I can save the world, but I'm hoping that somebody else sees what we're doing and decides to either help us, or if they have the capability of starting a program somewhere else to make a difference. It doesn't have to be even Jamaica. It could be India. It could be
right.
It could be Costa Rica. It could be Guatemala. Just have the ability to know that it is possible to make a difference in the world. I mean, it's all about global health. It's not just about Jamaica. Jamaica is one of the leaders in getting things done. That's why I'm optimistic that if we tackle this problem, we're gonna solve it. We just have to decide this is what we want to do.
So how can we, this community, this Throck community, how can we help get this ambulance off the wharf and into circulation and start being used?
I'm very optimistic. There's a lot of people who've been trying to help us. Mr. Courtney Cephas at the Ministry of Health.
Okay.
He's trying to be our liaison. But I think, as you said, Winthrop, they don't understand what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to bring an ambulance in here and give it to the fire brigade. We're not trying to bring an ambulance and give it to the Ministry of Health or Savamar. We want to run our own system.
Right.
I have the highest EMS trained physicians and paramedics that came down here. One of the paramedics was here. You saw the conference we had upstairs in your conference room here.
Yeah.
We bring paramedics from the Fire Department of New York, and they're highly trained. We have folks abroad who are dying to come down here to help and assist. They don't have to do it alone. This sense of pride and ego is what gets in our way sometimes. Let's just give this a chance. I mean, as I said before, insanity is to keep doing things the same way and expect different results. Let Jah Jah come in here. Let us bring one ambulance. We want to bring 5 ambulances. We have the capability through our fundraising and to people who are listening on your medium here. We have the capability of bringing so much more ambulances in here, and we know how to distribute them with accountability. Okay, if you can't come back to our conference once a year and get the training, your community is not getting another ambulance. Just like the J Hub with the handheld devices.
Right.
If you're not buying into what we're doing, we can't help you. You can get rid of one ambulance. So what's one ambulance? So Negril will be our hub because the Chamber of Commerce of Negril is accountable. We know who we're dealing with,
Right.
and they have the same vision that we have for a better Jamaica. They may not have the way how to get there, but through shared vision and more importantly, trust. If Jamaican government trusted us, they'd have been the ambulance would have been released a long time ago.
Man.
But it's an issue of trust.
Right.
And we're saying to the powers that be, trust that what we're doing is right. Get past the name Jah Jah. Okay? Yeah, we're Rastafarians. Call us what you want. Look at my head. Jah Jah means Jamaicans abroad and friends of Jamaica helping Jamaicans at home. Jah Jah. Okay, get used to that name. We're gonna work together with Jamaica's positive thinkers and move Jamaica forward. We're gonna get there. We're gonna start in the grill. So those folks who are thinking of coming to the grill, you chose a good place to start.
Yeah.
Because we will have an EMS system by the hook or the crook. And I'm sure the greater minds and the more progressive minds will come together and work with us to make this a success. I mean, there's an advisory about Jamaica and its healthcare system and its crime and all these things. Through every negative thing can come good.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic that Jamaica will get past this. And there are issues here. Let's not pretend that they're not issues here. We know it is. But nobody wants to air out their laundry. And I'm not here to air out Jamaica's bad laundry, but I'm here to say together we can make significant improvement in how healthcare is delivered here for every Jamaican.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well said. Well said. Let's get to some questions here. PL says, how can the diaspora donate to Dr. Dixon Jah Jah Foundation? And you can go right to the website that we have on the screen here, jahjahfoundation.org, JAHJAH foundation.org, and you can make your donations there. It will go a long way. It will, and I will also say, like, let's do what we can, anybody out there, to get this ambulance off the wharf and into circulation. It's needed here very, very much. Very, very much. And this is like the sooner the better. The sooner it's in circulation, the more lives it's gonna save. There's no question, no doubt about
I
it.
just want to say that our website is equipped to take up to $1 million. So don't be shy. Okay? Just put those zeros in, it'll take it. You'll see.
That's $1 million US dollars,
Yes.
not Jamaican. It says, how much can you get a handheld ultrasound for in New York?
How about $2,500 to $3,000? Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not sure if your question is in context of you considering purchasing one, Frida. But is that something that you would take if somebody wanted to purchase one and actually donate it to your organization?
It's interesting because the Butterfly, the corporation, they usually have a monthly subscription that comes with that $3,000 donation, a monthly subscription to keep that Butterfly going. They have waived that for Jamaica.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
Okay.
unless you go through the program, they won't necessarily waive it. But through the Jah Jah Fund
Okay.
for the public hospital, but we don't do it for like individuals because we're
I
trying.
see.
It's a special project for what's it called developing countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that. Shayna has a question. Not sure if this was mentioned, discussed already. However, are volunteer opportunities open to those without a medical background? If so, in what capacity?
Absolutely. We just finished training about 25 volunteers how to be first responders, we call them. We don't want to get into logistics. They're not an EMT. We're training to be first responders, which means they train how to safely transport a patient ambulance and how to secure the cervical spine. We train them how to give oxygen to patients. So yes, we take volunteers. We have volunteers from police officers, firefighters, teachers, and lay people in the community who just want to help. So, once you can read and write, you'll be willing to get a CPR and BLS trained and work with us. We rather take people who live here on the island because they have more flexibility. Because eventually you'll be put into a rotation where you would volunteer your time to give whether a week or a day in the rotation, fill a slot so we can have that ambulance up and running.
I see. And so how would somebody find out more information on that, or how does somebody sign up?
JahJahFoundation.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Another question from Shayna. Speaking of transporting people in an ambulance, what are your thoughts of poor quality of most road conditions that may play a factor of safe and reliable transportation?
Yeah, road factors are an issue. Fortunately, Negril don't have that. I can speak for Negril. I know I've traveled in some of the rural communities where there's challenges with the condition of the roads, but for the most part, if you drive in a at a decent speed, not too fast, the roads here in Negril and surrounding areas are pretty safe. Yeah.
Okay. And I will say that I don't know. I feel like Mrs. Bradley would have mentioned this to you, but you can tell me she did or didn't. Mrs. Bradley is the Negril Chamber of Commerce president, and you and Dr. Dixon and had a meeting with her a few days ago. But the I'm not going to blame anybody, but the ambulance is notorious for crashing, like like all the time. Unfortunately, even that ambulance that I talked about from many years ago. I mean, that thing
I
is
remember that
long gone.
the Mercedes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
it's
it, yeah.
long gone because they were, turned over or whatever have you. Like maybe that's normal. Like they're like I don't know, in New York, like an ambulance, will crash every 2 years. I don't know
Yeah.
what that is, but like we feel like it's happening at an alarming rate and in a very frequent way down here.
I think, as you probably suspect, it's multifactorial why
Mhm.
ambulances crashes. You know, people's lack of respect for they drive too fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone drives too fast. They overtake when it's not safe. They take a lot of chances. For some reason, it's a fast society. I don't know why that is. Not everyone, obviously, but there's a substantial amount of this population. It only takes one person to be driving reckless to cause innocent people to lose their life. And we see it a lot of with these cab drivers. These box. You see them, and you just have to get out of their way. And so we just have to be under them. You can deploy another one. Ministry of Finance. We're not here to bring one ambulance into this country. We're not silly like that. We want to bring a series of 4, 5, 6, 10 ambulances, but we need to know we have a clear path. We can't bring an ambulance from August 24th and it's still sitting on the wharf, accruing charges that we have to pay ultimately. This doesn't make any sense.
Crazy.
And then you come back with a number like 20,000. It doesn't. And I
The internet. Oh, there we are. I'm just putting the website in the chat there. Yeah, I'm putting the website so you can click the link. So you can get more information, and if you are so inclined to make a donation, you can do so.
Don't be rude though.
We have about another 10 minutes or so here until we have to hop off. So if you have any other last minute questions, please get them in. You can go to jahjahfoundation.org, and I'll just read off a few comments here as we start to close off. Jason Wilson says, "This is an amazing program, Dr. Dixon, but like you said, our pride and ego is shortchanging the Jamaicans that are in need of these services."
Thank you. That's a good point. Like I said, if you know anyone who can help us get over this hurdle, please don't hesitate to make a phone call. It's not money that always does it. Sometimes it's just speaking to the right persons to say, hey, this is the right thing to do. So let's just all work together. Don't think what you can contribute is too small. Whatever you can do to help move us forward, I mean, we'll appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely will go a long way. Mickey Media TV says, such a paradox to doubt a crucial medical service labeled Jah Jah while advertising Rastafarian visuals for tourism. I would like to think that that's not the case.
What did the person
That,
say?
you know, he said it's such a paradox to doubt a crucial medical service labeled Jah Jah while advertising Rastafarian visuals for tourism. So essentially saying that, like, how can the government be against your organization in any way because it's Jah Jah, but at the same time, we're promoting the Bob Marley movie, for example, or
No, no,
that sort of thing.
I don't think any Jamaican on an individual level
Mhm.
has a problem with Jah Jah. Like I said, I don't think any Jamaican, white or black, has a problem with the name Jah Jah Foundation. But unfortunately, sometimes guilt make you don't want to associate yourself. I'll tell you honestly that there are Jamaicans here, black Jamaicans here, who are afraid to say Jah Jah, and because they have certain stigma of fighting racism that existed on the island for a long time. I mean, the Rastafarian movement started as an anti-colonial movement, and we know that the colonial powers that be are still existent in Jamaica, and people are afraid. You know, there are people in schools there are schools in Jamaica who are still chastising kids for having dreadlocks. So it shows that we still have a long way to go. So, like we said before, we name and we name, and we name non-change, which means this is our name, Jah Jah Foundation, and whatever that means to you, you have to search your heart to see, you know, if what it means to you is based on your colonial baggage or whatever that may be. So I'm a bald head, but I think like a Rasta. Okay, which means that Marcus Garvey taught us that we have to be self-empowered. We have to help ourselves, and that's why this is a community-based volunteerism. I'm not saying we're going to ask the government to take care of this. The community has already stepped up. We have 25 local people in the community said, "I want to make my community better." And what better way to serve a community than the people who live in the community, helping their brothers and sisters, helping their aunts, helping their neighbors in an emergency? What better pride is that for a community? If somebody doesn't want that community to have that, or somebody don't want Jamaica to have that, you have to ask yourself why. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. We named Jah Jah Foundation, JAH Foundation. Whatever Jah Jah means to you, get on board.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. uh, Pretty Pratt says, I'm so proud of the work that Dr. Dixon and the Jah Jah Foundation is doing in Jamaica. So proud of my friend.
Who's that?
Pretty Pratt. I don't know if you
Is
know
that
who
Renee? Pretty Pratt?
I don't know if you know who that is.
No, it's in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. All right. Nice. I'm not sure what Currency Walk is referring to, but says this really confirms all I have been hearing about our healthcare system. Donna Bryce says, so frustrating and embarrassing that the government is hampering the efforts of organizations trying to help Jamaica. But, again, not making any excuse for them at all. But I think you opened our eyes to understand their perspective is like people saying that they're doing it for free and they're doing it for private.
Making money. Yeah,
right.
yeah. But we're non-for-profit. Just check our books. We're a registered charity in Jamaica, and we're a registered charity in New York, New Jersey.
Okay.
So we're both registered in America and Jamaica, which means we file taxes. We do everything that, our books are open, and that's what we do. So come on board. This is the real foundation, Jah Jah Foundation. And I want to thank Travelers for not just hosting all our volunteers here, but this medium for me to get the word out about what we need to do to make a better Jamaica. We appreciate it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And like you said before, we want to make this Jah Jah Foundation's home more than anything else.
Yeah,
and, really, really honored that you have chosen the grill, you've chosen Travelers, and we're going to do everything that we can as a community to help empower the Jah Jah Foundation and as much as we can clear all obstacles and all roads for you to allow you to do what you got to do.
As much as I want to take credit for choosing the grill and for choosing Travelers, I would say that's Jah Works. That's not my work. That's Jah Works.
Okay. I like it. I like it. All right. Last few comments here, and then we're going to wrap up here. We just have a few more minutes. Shayna Loco says, Dr. Dixon, the work that you are doing is multifaceted. Not only providing medical services, it's a way to empower people in their community to be part of something greater to improve. hope in humanity.
That's right. We just all have to pray and trust God, and everything will happen when it's supposed to happen. Ask my wife if you don't believe me.
And I was gonna say, even like with the sustainability aspect, going back to the EMS training, and I went up there, and I don't, I just want to make sure that we hit this point very clearly. Is I go up there and my security guards are there
That's right.
doing
Yeah,
the EMS training.
that's right.
And I
That's
don't
right.
think you understand how important, how powerful that is. Here in front of travelers, before we have a medium in the road now that slows down traffic, and then we have these rudders now that slows down traffic. This has had to have been one of the most dangerous roads in Jamaica. This little strip, and what happens is, and how it's set up is that there's an S curve coming in from downtown, and then there's an S curve coming in from the northern part of the beach. And so, especially if you don't know the road, you have people whipping around this corner, and then they see this straight away, and they just gun it. And the amount of the first person that I ever car accident person that I ever saw die was here when I was 22 years old. It was a motorcycle accident. It was I remember it was in the evening. I was walking up to the lobby, and it sounded like a bomb went off. Like everybody came out their rooms and they're like, "What's going on?" I go outside and I just see like just shrapnel, shreds of a motorcycle. I see a helmet, and I see this guy all the way down the street. This is like 18 years ago, whatever. And then I have no medical training, nothing. Like I run up to the guy. There's one other guy there, and fortunately, the guy like searched his pockets, and he's like, "Oh, he has money." And the guy there is like, his head is split open. He's still alive though.
Mm-hmm.
Arm clearly broken. You could see it going protruding the skin, and same thing with his leg. And then I just kneel down and just start talking to him. And I was like, "Don't worry, like, you're gonna be okay." And also trying to ask him his name, but he's not responding. Ambulance finally shows up, and as you were saying, like in an accident, there's usually more than one person that needs help. It's a pregnant lady in the ambulance, and I guess they just picked her up, and then they take this guy and then put him next to the pregnant lady.
I'm
And
glad they did it. I'm glad they did that, because sometimes they won't even do that.
Oh, really? So my point, and then like I could tell so many stories of just like me being in my office, and you just hear the tires screeching, and then you just hear this sound. It's like one of the worst sounds in the world, of just like metal and plastic just like coming together in like the most violent of ways. And then everybody runs outside. Again, pure pandemonium. Nobody knows what to do. Everybody's screaming, telling, "Hey, do this, put this on the wound," and it just doesn't make any sense. And so, and even now, there was a car accident last week right in front of the property. Nothing. I think, thank God, because of the meetings and everything, like it slowed down and nobody was hurt. Everybody literally walked away. But the point is what happens is like the first responders are usually the security guards, and then second is the front desk worker.
Yeah.
You got to like, and this is what we taught them is like, front desk worker, like you can't come out. Like I need you to man your station. I need you to be on there with the ambulance, with the police, whoever it is, to be able to like just know that I have somebody there. And now that the security guard is trained, at least he'll have some semblance of what to do and how he can help somebody in an unfortunately inevitable emergency situation.
Yeah, we actually have some interesting program which we want to implement here in the Grill area, where we want to actually train all the taxi drivers. Go out to the taxi station out there. We want to train them and hand them out cervical collars.
Wow,
that's what we intend to do.
That's
but
awesome.
If we can't get an ambulance in here, what's the point of all these stuff?
Right.
You know, we intend to do that and train them, because when you train taxi drivers how to secure someone in an accident, that's a twofold knowledge you're training. You're training that, you know what, maybe I am driving too fast. You know, and then you train them how to respond when somebody is in an accident, and that will change. That's how you culturally find ideas and ways to change behavior, opposed to saying, "You don't do this, you don't do that." We're gonna do it. We're committed to do it for 1 week. Just come out to the taxi stand and train them how to be first responders. And when they pass the class, they get a cervical collar to go home with.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So those are the ideas we want to bring into the Grill. But we need everyone to buy it. We can't fight this fight by ourselves, so we need everyone to get on board.
And you make them part of the solution instead of the problem.
When they see the problem, when they see what they're doing and what's happening with these accidents, I think they will, and I have faith.
That's so powerful psychologically.
Just one idea that
I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea, because he's going to say, like, I don't want to be wearing this thing around my neck.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
slow down.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want my friend helping me out the car if I get in an accident. Let me
Taking healthcare to the community. That's what we want to do. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. All right, Dr. Dixon, I think we're going to leave it right there.
Yes. Yeah. I can always come back at it some other time. And
Yeah,
after
definitely.
the ambulance is here, so we can talk more
Please,
about this.
as soon as that thing is cleared,
Yeah.
let me know so I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
let everybody here know. And, you know, we're going to do what we can as a community to help you out with that. And of course, you will definitely see, I'm sure, some donations coming in from the prop community.
I also want to thank Mr. Vassal. He has Boswell Motors on there down by Little London, and he's the one that's been storing the ambulances for
Oh,
us.
really?
So,
Awesome.
you know
awesome.
Mr. Vassal, right? So
Oh,
yeah.
from Coca Palm?
Yeah. So
Great
I
guy.
want to thank him publicly for his support with this initiative, and thank all the Jah Jah Foundation supporters, our sponsors, and our friends like you guys here at the Travelers Forum. All your support, Mr. Elaine Bradley, and the whole team at the Chamber of Commerce. That's the best thing Mr. Wallace ever did. Richard Wallace introducing me to Elaine Bradley. I want to thank him too. Thank you.
Okay, awesome,
right.
awesome. So thank you so much once again, Dr. Dixon. Everybody out there, thank you for joining us on this lovely Sunday afternoon here in the grill. And if you want more information on the Jah Jah Foundation, please visit their website, www.jahjahfoundation.org. That's JAHJAH Foundation.org. And you can make donations there, get more information about volunteering if that's something that you're interested in. And we'll definitely be following up with Dr. Dixon on the ambulance and seeing where things are with that. So we're going to leave it right there. Wishing everybody a great rest of the week, a great rest of the Sunday afternoon. And we got the premiere that's happening right now, which I'm missing because I'm in here with this live stream with you guys. So if you will, I'm going to put the link here. If everybody wants to hop over to my channel, actually, I guess you're already on there. You can see the premiere that we're having right now on the interview that I did with Kevin Frith, who is the founder of Suncoast. Oh, it's already playing. Suncoast Beach Club in St. Thomas, that is opening shortly. There you go. I put the link in there, so you can just click the link, and I'll see you over in the premiere. Everybody can hop over there, and we can watch that together. Talk to everybody soon, and I will give you this beach view to end our stream. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.